From Hindustan Times, and with me is chef Gaggan Anand, who needs, well, really no introduction at all. His restaurant in Bangkok, Gaggan, named after him of course, has made it to the best restaurant list in Asia for 3 years now and is now also in the best restaurants in the world list. Gaggan, welcome to the Hindustan Times Leadership Summit. I hope you're enjoying being here.
I'm super happy here.
Okay. Gaggan, let's start with your, stay in Kolkata. You're a Kolkata boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go back to your roots and tell us what are the memories of Kolkata that you have?
Because it's one of those debates like, which is Golgappa better or a Pani Puri better or a Puchka better? And because I'm brought up with, and my memories are about from Puchka, so I will always say Puchka wins over all these things. And that is with most of us as in India. I mean, Calcutta has influenced my taste buds. And we were just having this conversation before we entered this room was that Bengali cuisine is the only cuisine in India which starts with bitters. Yeah, you start a meal with bitters so that you activate your tongue. You know, it's such a synergy that most of the other Indian cuisines would never have. And this is very important because the idea of eating fish in Calcutta is so different from our idea of eating fish in Chennai or in Kerala or Goa, because in Calcutta I've grown up as a schoolboy going in this crowded bus at 7:30 in the morning where two Bengali gentlemen would discuss the fish that they bought that morning, which was alive, and how much they paid for it, how they negotiated, and when they go back home their wife would cook for it. And that's exactly I grew up with. That culture, that adda, the food being the major thought and process in our cultural life. And that's why Calcutta is a big memory of how I cook today.
Right. So you're saying that it's your stay in Calcutta, your years in Calcutta. How big an influence is it in what you cook today in the menu that we see at Gaggan?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a major because still in my restaurant there's no ghee, but we have Bengali mustard oil, and we have kashundi, we have bitters, we have panchforan. We don't have garam masala. Okay. So the idea about our cooking in Bengali cuisine and is my memories have played well to construct my cuisine. So if I substitute a wasabi to a Bengali mustard, a Japanese would eat a paturi thinking it's a dish that has been cooked with wasabi. Right. So it helps people to identify with something that has been existing in India, and yet it has not been exposed to them forever in life. Or a chutney, I mean, a chutney compared to a Delhi chaatwala and a chutney that a Bengali is completely different, right? And that's how we played better here in Gaggan. So it's really helped me.
Gaggan, I've always been very curious to know I have read that you define your food as progressive Indian food. Can you define that for me? What is progressive Indian food?
The word literally progressive means to lean forward on a step and a gradual movement from what has been existing. And what I've done with food is just to add that element of what Indian food is, how it tastes good already domestically, and how do I present it in a genre of art and in the zen of being minimalism. Now, I add a lot of minimalism to my cuisine, and that's why dishes are eaten by hands. I always found that most Indian restaurants make Indian dishes look very Western. Rather, I looked at how to make Indian dishes look Indian and eaten by hands and not with spoon and knife. And so out of 25 courses in Gaggan, only 2 are eaten with spoon and fork. And probably by the end of my career at Gaggan, in 2 years from now, I would actually have a menu, that's my dream, to have completely eaten by hands. And completely eaten by hands and yet to make it beautiful is a very tough job.
We will take up that 2 years thing. It's a big rumor that Gaggan is closing. We can only eat at the restaurant for 2 more years.
So
let's address that and kill that rumor once and for all. Tell us what is happening.
2018 and 19 is the last 2 years for Gaggan. 2020 will be highly by invite. So it'll be a very controlled audience at Gaggan. And the funny thing is that in last 7.5 years, I have not yet eaten at Gaggan, and I hope to keep the record of never ever eaten at Gaggan.
What is the cover now for the restaurant?
We do about 100 seats, 50 seats in two settings, 6 and 9:30. And yeah, I wish I could do more and make the best of what I do, but we are on any given day, if we have 50 guests at the table, we are about 60 guys in the restaurant. So that much, we are 78 people in our restaurant. So we are really more than a person to person to give the product. So it's not easy.
And you still cook every day, you said?
Every day. If I am in Bangkok and if it's not a Sunday, I am at Gaggan. And Gaggan is open every day because it's just not about me, but it's about 78 other families. And we share profits, like service charges and everything. Like, I'll give you an example. In a city like Bangkok, an average person who's sitting at the bank counter, she would get about $400 as a salary max. In Gaggan, we get about $1,000 as tips and service charges. So the thing is, they've started living a luxurious life. And they don't care about the salaries, they don't care about everything. So we are very highly paid, and whatever I make, I share them back. So that way they don't want me to close.
I can understand.
Yeah.
And I'm sure none of the people who have eaten at Gaggan or hope to eat at Gaggan's want you to close. I'm sure you have something moving ahead, plans to move.
Yeah, I think the restaurant Gaggan as a business model would move on to become a restaurant that will be named after my head chef, and he will take over. It's like an inheritance, and the best inheritance is your best worker. We were discussing about how do you reward your young guys. Yes, the only way to reward them is to give them a piece of the cake of your success. Right. So one is that, and second, most importantly, is that if I don't exit, and this is what I've seen in many famous restaurants, and we learn our lessons through history, is that I will always overshadow the person. Right. I will always. So the only way to leave is exit the stage and let the stage be run by them. Right. So, and you have to exit the fame and start something new. Right. Because you can't climb the top of a mountain, as I always say, to the other top of the mountain. You got to get down and climb again. So I prefer that journey.
Gaggan, you said that you cook every day. Does it ever feel like a chore, or you still feel passionate about it?
I think it gives me a very positive energy. The most frustrated days, when you are angry and you lose your temper, or things are not going the way you want it, those days I'm the best at the kitchen. Really? Because it relaxes me, it pieces me out, unless somebody is very intimidating, and then you need to throw them out. Simple. Yeah, I mean, that's the way it is. Don't intimidate me, that's it.
I don't know how many people know, but the other thing that I was reading about you is that you're also really passionate about music.
Absolutely. I mean, music is heavy. I mean, you create a dish on a song called Lick It Up, and you make people lick up the plate. I mean, you are coming to one of the most fine dining experiences in the world, and all you do is licking up a plate. And that's why I believe in is to create a non-pretentious environment, because good food doesn't come with pretension. And today's world, we are getting very pretentious, very social media friendly. And I thought I would do that being myself rather than what people expect out of me. And then also it works in a big way. I mean, today Lick It Up is one of the most social media friendly dish, and it's the third course. And in that third course, when you lick the plate, you decide whether you want to lick the plate or you call your Uber. That's how it is.
So you let your favorite music and your passion for music influence your cooking?
It's very important, because in our kitchen we are not allowed to shout.
So do you cook to music? Do you play music when you...
Everyone has their own playlist in different parts of the kitchen. And music has to be in the kitchen. If there's no kitchen with music, we don't run the kitchen.
The other thing I've always been curious to know is, how do chefs know that, okay, now this dish is perfect for me to serve to others? When you're experimenting, when you're creating something new, do you go by your own taste? Do you trust your family? Do you, set it out for others to sample? What do you do?
My family is my restaurant. And I think when we decide a dish, we have a lab, a kitchen lab. which we built last year. And what happened in this kitchen lab is we start from 9 to 6. We have a team of 4 chefs taking turns, and there are 21 chefs who innovate together.
Right.
And my cycle is that 1.5 months before the next menu, we start doing the innovation cycles. So everyone takes 3 subjects discussed by me and come up with a form of art. That's why, if you've seen the video, that every course is not looking similar, doesn't taste similar, doesn't present on a similar plate. It are different elements of art, and these are my challenges, and it has to be eaten by hands.
Okay.
So these things, if they work well with a concept, like my next menu, we already know because we're already working on it. And that's the thing, because you have to challenge your own self rather than challenging the restaurant. And then when 30 of us in the kitchen have decided and tasted a dish and everybody agrees to it, it goes to the menu.
Last question, Gaggan. Coming back to your session, you said one of your favorite holiday destinations is India. But when asked about your favorite restaurants here, you weren't so sure of the answer. So where do you like to eat when you're in India?
The problem is that
At home, street food?
I'm the most obnoxious guest, because I'll go to a restaurant and the chef will be very interested to impress me, but I will ask dal, chawal, roti and eat with hands. So I'm a very simple person to eat. That's why I rather, like I'll give you an example. I was in Lucknow, and everybody talks about tunde ka kebab and all those things. But my biggest discovery was not tunde kebab, but the kulfi wala on the same chalk, who for 3 generations has kulfi.
I saw that show.
Yeah,
I was there.
Yeah,
yes.
and Prasad kulfi. And
yes.
that guy
yes.
has a sugar-free kulfi.
Yes.
So his kulfi was a bigger discovery than the tunde ka kebab.
And do you still feel inspired by these discoveries when you are eating out?
This is what I always like about India, is the domestication. Like every city in India has its speciality, and it's 4 p.m. tea vendors with the fried snacks. You have these nostalgias. Every city, every square kilometer has that. And I need to discover that more. So that's why when I come back to India, it's like we cook with our tongues here, right? Right? So I need my tongue to keep learning and keep reviving my memories. Right. So that's why I have to come back to India, no? Right. Yeah, otherwise I lose my cooking tongue.
Right. And what is Chef Gaggan's comfort food at home?
I told you, dal, chawal, achar. Like tonight, like after this interview, I'm going to shop for achar. So can you imagine? I mean, these are the best things in life. I mean, because nothing beats that the messy hand, and then you lick your fingers. I mean, it's disgusting, but it's the best thing.
Wow, I'm sure you're making all the viewers hungry, definitely me. Thank you so much, Gaggan. It was wonderful having you here.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.